Dionysus, god of wine, ecstasy and madness, wandered the earth. He was a figure of both awe and mystery, a deity who moved through the world with a purpose that was both divine and deeply human. He had a sacred mission: to share the gift of the vine with humankind. This gift was not just about the fruit itself, but about the joy and connection it could bring to people. To teach them its cultivation, he traveled far and wide, showing them how to tend to the vines, how to nurture them, and how to harvest the grapes at the perfect time. To reveal the secrets of its intoxicating juice, he demonstrated the art of winemaking, turning the humble grape into a drink that could elevate the spirit and bring people together in celebration.
With each land I touch, I bring joy, revelry, and a touch of divine frenzy. My presence is a blessing, a reminder of the beauty and chaos that life can offer.
His arrival was always heralded by the ecstatic cries of his followers. They would gather in anticipation, knowing that with Dionysus came a time of celebration and release. The air would throb with the music of flutes and drums, a symphony that stirred the soul and invited everyone to join in the dance. His presence was a whirlwind of sensation, a potent blend of intoxicating joy and primal fear. It was an experience that left no one untouched, a force of nature that could not be ignored. Yet not all welcomed the god and his gifts. There were those who saw the chaos and feared it, who worried about the loss of control and the breaking of societal norms. Some feared the wildness he unleashed, the loosening of inhibitions, the blurring of boundaries. They saw in Dionysus a threat to order and tradition, a force that could upend their way of life. One such man was Lycurgus, king of Thrace, a ruler who valued order and discipline. Lycurgus saw Dionysus as a dangerous influence, a god whose gifts could lead to the unraveling of his kingdom. The land of Thrace was a harsh and unforgiving place, its people hardened by toil and war. King Lycurgus, a stern and unyielding ruler, reflected the spirit of his land. He valued order, discipline, and the rigid traditions of his ancestors.
When Dionysus and his entourage arrived in Thrace, I watched from my mountaintop palace with growing unease. I saw the wild dancing, the frenzied music, the ecstatic faces smeared with wine and juice of the grape. I heard tales of the strange god and his even stranger followers, the wild Maenads, the goat-legged satyrs, the wise old Silenus. To me, this was madness, an affront to reason and order.
Lycurgus, a king of action, decided to act swiftly and decisively. He would banish this foreign god and his corrupting influence from his land. He summoned his guards, their bronze armor gleaming in the sun.
Drive them out, hunt them down like the wild beasts they are.
The king's men, loyal and unquestioning, charged down the slopes, swords drawn, ready to carry out his command. The followers of Dionysus, caught in the midst of their revelry, were taken by surprise. Panic erupted as the Thracian soldiers stormed into their midst. Laughter and music turned to screams and the clash of steel. Dionysus, witnessing the chaos, felt a cold fury rise within him. He had not come to conquer, but to share his gift. Yet he was met with violence and hatred. He raised his thyrsus, its tip tipped with a pine cone, and unleashed a wave of divine power.
The ground shook. Vines erupted from the earth, entangling the feet of the pursuing soldiers. But it was not enough. Outnumbered and outmatched, we were forced to flee.
They ran through the forests, the cries of their pursuers echoing behind them. Finally they reached the coast, the vast expanse of the Aegean Sea stretching before them. Trapped between the angry king and the unforgiving sea, Dionysus called upon the one being who could offer them sanctuary, his father, Zeus, king of the gods. The situation was dire, and the young god knew that only divine intervention could save them from the impending doom that loomed over them.
Father, hear my plea. Save us from this peril. We are at the mercy of the elements and the wrath of a vengeful king. Only your power can deliver us from this fate.
The sea churned, and from its depths rose the Nereid, Thetis, her silver scales shimmering in the sunlight. She was a vision of grace and power, a testament to the might of the ocean and the gods who ruled it. She carried the god and his followers to safety, away from the wrath of Lycurgus. The journey was swift, yet filled with tension as they fled the dangers that pursued them. But Dionysus, though safe, was far from finished with the king of Thrace. His mind was already plotting the next move, contemplating the retribution that would befall the one who dared to challenge him. He would not let this act of aggression go unpunished. The anger within him burned like a fire, fueling his desire for vengeance. He climbed Mount Nysa, a place sacred to him, and there, overlooking the treacherous sea, he called upon his powers. The mountain was a sanctuary, a place where he could connect with his divine essence. The air crackled with divine energy as he prepared to unleash his vengeance. The sky darkened and lightning danced across the heavens, a prelude to the wrath that was about to be unleashed upon the world.
Lycurgus, you have dared to defy a god, to reject the gifts I bring to humankind. You will learn the price of your arrogance.
And so Dionysos, in his wrath, cursed the land of Thrace. The once fertile fields withered and died, the vines that Lycurgus so despised turning to dust in the ground. The air grew heavy and still, the sun scorching the barren earth. The people, their livelihoods destroyed, cried out in despair. They turned on their king, blaming him for the disaster that had befallen them. Section 7. The Repentance of Lycurgus. Lycurgus, witnessing the devastation, was overcome with remorse. He had acted in haste, driven by fear and pride. Now his people were suffering, his kingdom crumbling around him.
I must make amends. My actions have brought ruin to my people and my land.
He knew he had to appease the god he had wronged. He climbed the slopes of Mount Pangaea, seeking the counsel of the oracle, hoping for a way to atone for his sins. The oracle, her voice echoing from the depths of the mountain, spoke of the terrible price of hubris.
The curse will only be lifted when you, the source of Dionysus's anger, are removed.
Section 8. The Prophecy of Dionysus. The words of the oracle filled Lycurgus with a chilling dread. His fate, it seemed, was sealed.
How can I, a mere mortal, hope to appease a god?
He returned to his palace, his heart heavy with despair. Meanwhile, Dionysus appeared before the people of Thrace, his anger abated, replaced by a solemn sadness.
I see your suffering, and my heart is moved by compassion. Your land will bloom again, and the curse will be lifted, but only when justice is served.
The people, desperate for hope, listened with rapt attention, their fate hanging on the god's words. Section 9. The Fate of the King. News of Dionysus's prophecy reached Lycurgus, and he knew what he had to do. He had brought this disaster upon his people, and he alone could end their suffering.
I must surrender myself. It is the only way to save my people.
He surrendered himself to his people, accepting his punishment without resistance. They led him to the peak of Mount Pangaea, the highest point in the land, a place where the gods themselves seemed close. There, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the barren land, Lycurgus met his fate. The manner of his demise varies in the telling, a testament to the enduring power of myth. Section 10. The Triumph of the Vine. In the heart of ancient Greece, where the sun kissed the earth and the winds whispered through the grapevines, a tale of transformation began to unfold. Some say he was torn apart by wild horses, their hooves pounding the earth where the first vines would soon sprout. These wild creatures, untamed and fierce, symbolized the raw power of nature reclaiming its dominion. Others claim he was struck down by Zeus's lightning, the king of the gods delivering the final judgment. The sky roared with thunder as the mighty bolt descended, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter. Whatever the means, Lycurgus's reign was over, his debt paid. The once mighty ruler who had defied the gods now lay in ruins, his throne shattered and his legacy tarnished.
Look, the land is stirring with new life. The once desolate fields now shimmer with the promise of abundance, as if the very soul of the earth had been awakened. The curse is lifted, and my wrath is appeased. The gods, once angered, now look upon the land with favor, their divine presence felt in every leaf and vine.
As his lifeblood seeped into the earth, a miracle occurred. The ground, once thirsty and unforgiving, drank deeply of the sacrifice, transforming pain into potential. The land, parched and barren for so long, stirred with new life. Cracks in the earth began to close, and the once dry soil started to pulse with vitality. Green shoots emerged from the cracked soil, tiny tendrils reaching for the sky. These delicate sprouts, symbols of hope and renewal, stretched towards the heavens, eager to embrace the light. The curse was lifted, the wrath of Dionysus appeased. The god of wine and revelry, once vengeful, now bestowed his blessings upon the land, ensuring its prosperity. The land of Thrace bloomed again, more fertile than ever before. Fields that had once lain fallow now burst with color and life, a testament to the power of redemption and rebirth. The story, however, is not over. This tale of transformation and triumph is but one chapter in the grand saga of the gods and mortals. The legacy of Lycurgus and the triumph of Dionysus will continue to unfold in the tales to come. As long as there are those who remember, the story will live on, inspiring generations with its message of hope, renewal, and the enduring power of the vine.